What's Happening Hoke show is filmed before a live audience and is brought to you by Rockfish Motor Speedway, the Rock of Hoke, nunboys.com, and GPS Photography and Video, GPS Photo and Video.
What's happening, Hoke? Hal Nunn with Glenn Young over here on the right side of GPS Photography and Video, nunboys.com, sponsored by Rockfish Speedway. Sitting between us is the lovely Donna Brock from Aging Outreach Services right here in Hoke County.
She actually makes Hal look good.
Yeah, I need some help. They actually work a whole region through here, and Donna's been a friend of mine now for the last year. She's been a friend for a while, but here recently we've just talked more because of my mom's situation, and my mom is in a nursing home now and have some stuff going on physically and mentally. But when I started asking you questions about seniors care and outreach services for seniors, it just blew my mind the amount of information that you had. I went to one of your support group meetings, and they have support groups here in Hoke County on the fourth Tuesday of every month out at Pittman Grove Baptist Church, 5:30 to 7. So if you have a senior citizen that you're concerned about and you want to find out information, go to one of their support groups. But Donna's here just for a few minutes to give us a brief overview about things that we need to be aware of, and what are some of the things that we need to know about senior care. You know, my mom's 81, and she just, she broke her hip, and since then it's just been hard for her to get around. It's been hard for her to do things, so we've had to put her in a nursing home or a skilled facility. So when you do that, I've got your pamphlet here, some of the things you talk about, and you're going to have a big service coming up here pretty soon where you can talk to a lot of people, and it's open to the public on August 26th, actually at my church, First Baptist, at 6:30. But you're going to talk about things about assessments and development plan and care and crisis intervention and things like that. Tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Okay, well, I grew up here in Rayford, born and raised, moved away, went to college at Carolina, go Heels. And yeah,
oh, there we go.
Made like that.
Well, NC State, give it up, man. They're not winning anything this year. Jeez.
Basketball. I'm all about the basketball.
Yeah, that's right.
But grew up here, have a soft spot in my heart for Hoke County.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I moved away for a while, worked in Wake County at social services and child support enforcement, Medicaid, all got my
all your
got my time in. Yeah. Moved back, worked in long-term care about 15 years, and I've been with Aging Outreach for 8 years.
Wow.
But basically wanted to bring the services to Hoke County. Was primarily focused in Moore County for the first 5 or 6 years. But since I live here and I know there's a need here, and
we're growing. The population
absolutely.
is getting older.
Yeah, growing, and what people don't realize is that in a few years there will be more people over 65 than under 18. Mm-hmm. And people don't seem to want to think about the burden that's going to put on society to take care of the elderly. Plus, people are waiting longer to have children. So if you're like me, I'm a sandwich generation person. I have elderly parent, or did have elderly parents, and a young child, and work full time. So it's hard to take care of a child, much less a child and your parents or grandparents.
Right.
So that's kind of what our whole industry was born of, is making sure we're there for those families who either their folks have retired here and they live out of state. I have one client, her son lives in Japan, and there's no one local. There's no support.
That can sort of support her,
right.
Do things you need. I'm looking at one of your brochures here, help with paying bills, attend medical appointments, help navigate medical charges and things through Medicare, Medicaid. And I'm telling you, Glenn, it's a mess. I don't know your family situation, but I hope there's somebody where mom and dad are that can kind of help them.
Both my parents, their biggest thing they wanted to do was not to go to a nursing home.
Right.
And that is the biggest step that happens when you're losing their will to take care of themselves and losing the availability to take care of themselves.
And safety.
My wife works at Autumn Care of Fayetteville, so she sees it every day.
Good connection.
So the thing about it, in my family, when I was 14, my parents were 65. I was young as a 13. I was born in 64. But as they got older, it became a trial. One of the biggest things that you never put me in one of those homes, because it was like putting them in a dog kennel.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just the way they looked at it.
Yeah, some people
And
do.
so with that, when you look at things like that, Donald, a lot of times you have, we talked about those that have an outreach, they have family or they have kids. What do you do about the two elderly couple that had no children, or they're
Together.
just by themselves, and the husband's 75, the wife is 78? What do you do in a case like that? What are some of the services that can be provided? Because they're getting to the point where they can't take care of each other, let alone live by themselves.
Right, well, the big thing is, for those folks who are aging in a community, it's like the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. The same kind of concept. For those elderly people who are alone and their adult children, or even if they don't have adult children, are nowhere in the area, they're isolated, they don't really have good neighbor support.
Right.
Most times, there's someone involved in the church. That seems to be the core denominator, that there's a church either local to them that they've been members of, or that members know the family. We have to rely on the kindness of others a lot of times to call and say, I think you may need to go out and talk to these folks, they may
Right.
need some help. But the important thing is that you've got to have a plan.
Right.
But what if they're a couple that's an old elderly couple who may not be a church? Because there are some families that are unchurched.
They just
What
don't
if-
go to church.
I guess you
Right,
sort
because
of,
Hal goes to that.
That's why we're
they don't want to come to my church. The old people there, it's like that, but anyway.
Well, that's why I'm doing things like this, to
Okay.
make sure that we get the word out, that the services are there, that there are people that are willing to come out and talk to them, to educate them, to help them with whatever their need may be, hopefully to avoid a crisis and not as a result of a crisis. A lot of times we will get these folks when it did take a crisis for someone to be made aware of what they're dealing
Before they got
with.
it.
So we're getting the calls from the hospitals, we're getting the calls from the doctors, we're getting referrals from attorneys, accountants. It's coming from
Because, I mean,
everywhere.
I would imagine there are some families who are well off enough to have financial security for that grandparent or for that parent, and they hire somebody to do that. I see that. But my concern is when you have someone who may be on limited resources, how, I have already seen how it helps. They help me by navigating me through the process. But how else can they help people like that? Or maybe someone who may not be does not have anybody there, but doesn't have the financial resources to take care of themselves.
Right, well, basically, what I can only speak for what we do. There are always resources in the community. There are senior services here in Hoke County. There is social services, Department of Social Services down in the city limits.
Okay.
There are lots of people who can offer advice. The key
So you can guide them sort of if you
Yeah, the
need to?
key is with our group, anyone who calls, even if they cannot financially afford the services that we provide, they're never turned away empty-handed.
Right.
So they're referred to people who can help them and get in there and do what needs to be done and get them to the right resources.
I fully understand. I
So
really
you guys
do.
are funded by the state?
No, we're actually
Right.
private pay.
Private pay? Okay.
We're privately funded by our clients. It's very client-driven. But we also work with long-term care insurance, which some people have been
The
savvy enough.
Medicaid, the Medicare, right?
Yeah, Medicaid and Medicare won't cover our services, but we know what Medicare and Medicaid will do, as
Right.
well as the VA.
Right.
So we can help people in the short term to get where they need to be, to get the resources that they need, and then we can be involved as little or as much as they want us to be. They drive what we do, but
So
we make
speaking
sure
of-
that there's a plan. So that,
Speaking of veterans though, when you mentioned the VA, what are some of the things that veterans can get?
well, there's a lot more than people realize, and the VA, they've been in the news a lot
Yeah.
lately.
Especially with the soldier home and soldiers care.
Right.
The new
right.
hospital is being built. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the VA, there are a lot of resources, you just have to be very diligent. A lot of times, the local VA resource, what they know may not coincide with what the administration will tell you. So even though you call one VA office and they say, oh, well, you're not eligible, that possibly could not be true.
Right.
So there are homebound benefits, there are benefits for folks for assisted livings, pensions. There are 3 levels of pensions that veterans can receive, but you've got to be diligent.
Other than their regular pension.
Rather than the
And their
regular.
VA disability.
Absolutely.
Well, how do people find out about how do they get a hold of you? What's the website, and if you want to give out any information?
Website is agingoutreachservices.com. Anyone is free to call me. If you want to look on our website, my contact information is on there. Email, text.
So
I
where
do
you
it
guys
all.
located here in Hoke
The
County?
office is actually based in Southern Pines.
Okay.
My boss started
It's
this
a branch.
company in '99.
Right.
So, and because of the way the population is
Right.
aging and the need out there, it has grown tremendously in the last 14 years.
Yeah.
So the main office is in Southern Pines, but now all the care managers, which is what I do, we travel.
Right.
We've got full caseloads, and we've also got an office in Cary to serve the Wake County area, and then we branch out depending on what people need.
How many counties, real quick, because we're up against the time.
Okay, Hoke, Moore, Cumberland, Wake, Lee.
Wow.
And we do, like I say, travel beyond those borders if
But those are
someone
the
needs
main
us
ones.
to.
How big
yes.
is your staff to cover all this stuff?
Not big
Well,
enough.
that's gonna do it for our special segment, special guest segment for this week. We're talking with Donna Brock of
Aging Outreach.
Aging Outreach Services. And Donna, one more time, tell us, how can we get a hold of you? What do people need to do to get in touch with you?
Okay, the easiest way is just to call our main office in Southern Pines, number 692-0683. The website has all my contact information directly, so feel free to text, call, or email. Pretty much that is it in a nutshell.
And the website is agingoutreachservices.com. Donna Brock, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're talking sports, everything football, the Rock of Hoke, full moon racing, blue moon racing. So that'll be interesting. We'll be right back after this.